Now we come to indent. This is one of the W's. So we have a lot of W's, what to buy, from whom to buy, when to buy, all those things, where to buy, all those things. Now, somebody was, if you remember, we discussed this point when we were on the brainstorming. Somebody talked about internal control. Am I right? Who was that, please? Somebody talked about internal control. Am I right?
Naresh.
Naresh ji. So that if you really look at the internal control system here, when I go to the when to buy or what to buy, I'll have to find out whether the stock availability. When we get an indent, we'll have to find out whether the stock is available from the stores. If the stock is available, then the indent cannot be proceeded, right? You just cannot proceed for the indent. It's not done. All of us know it. Not only stock available, we'll have a consumption pattern. And in SAP, it becomes very easy. In a previous system, we can draw the material from the stores and keep it in a sub-store. Then the material will be showing as a balance as nil. Then we will again buy all those things. Whereas in SAP, it is only a relocation of their stores, location only. So we will know the material is not still consumed. We will know it is available within the premises, so we'll be able to use. There are a lot of internal control mechanism on the indent itself. One is the stock availability, then the consumption pattern itself. Suddenly the consumption goes up for no reason. See, normally in the many, I do not know about many of you must be having. So as an auditor, we are supposed to find out what is the internal control mechanism for scrutiny of indent, isn't it? Scrutiny of indent, that should be an internal control system. There should be maybe a task force or a committee which we are as an auditor we will have to find out, and including the consumption pattern and whether proper authorization for indenting is available and whether reserved stock is used or not. We will discuss about this. So before we proceed, can people throw light on the internal control systems which are available in the organization in which you people are conversant with? Can we have the discussion, please, so that everybody will be able to learn from others? Yeah, please go ahead. Yes, please. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible.
Yeah, sir, your message has gone off. 1 second. Somebody had sent a message. Please hold on. Because people are sending message now. I'll have to find out. What was the point? I think Mr. Vasudev or somebody was giving a message saying that when the indenter draws the material, but he has not. When user is the chat readable to all of you? Is it available in the this one as a screen sharing?
Available, sir. It is available. Stock availability,
Yeah.
Consumption pattern.
The question is, when user withdrawn material but not used shall not be monitored. So what is meant by that? Shall not be monitored means what? So can you just elaborate it, please? I think Mr. Vasudeva Krishnan, can you please? No, sir. I think Mr. Govind will agree with me. It is not that SAP doesn't have a control. SAP has got 2 T codes. One T code is to move the material from the central stores to your temporary place. And then there is another T code which talks about actual consumption. So when I go for the material stock availability, even though it has moved out from the central stores to another place, it will be still in SAP as a stock. Mr. Govind, will you be able to?
Yes, sir. You're talking about the storage location movement of that
Storage.
article.
What
Yeah.
Mr. Krishnan was telling.
Vasu's
In
question
SAP,
is.
it is not possible. No, Mr. Krishnan, in SAP, it is possible. That is what I was telling. There are two T codes. See, if your system, when it is developed, when it is configured, if the actual best practices worldwide is when you are drawing material, it is only a change of location. Only when you put to use, it becomes the actual consumption. That is how the SAP works. But many other companies, they have short-circuited it. Once you draw from the material, when stores, they take it as a consumption. That is not how the SAP is developed. Whereas I have done 6 major installations with about 17,000 licenses of SAP. Last one was on S4HANA in NMDC. It is again change of location, then actual consumption. Yeah, Mr. Govind, you may please supplement.
No, yes, sir. Actually, as you rightly said, that product, which is a SAP product, have its own internal control, like differentiating with the help of storage location. But fortunately and unfortunately, none of the customers want to leverage that because that is increasing their work. So they are using always that only one storage location called 0001 as the only one location. If it is a consumed of its purchases, they don't want to differentiate. So they don't want to take that really control in their hands. That's what exactly the problem is. It's not the product problem. But it's a process used in the product.
I am very happy, sir, to inform all of you that I am not allowed it because I was the project sponsor everywhere. I think many of you must be knowing, I was the Executive Director of Finance Steel Authority, CFO of SAIL, a 1 lakh crore company. I was the CFO and head of finance as well as head of ERP implementation. I did 5 major implementation with 15,000 licenses. We put our foot down saying that no, we will go by the best business practice because all others, as you say, they don't want 2 types of T codes being used for one consumption. But we have put our foot down and then we have said that no, we will go by the standard best practices. So SAIL, we are doing it. So I'm very happy. Mr. Vasudevan Krishnan, SAP allows us to ensure that wherever the material is available within the organization, as long as it is not physically consumed, to be shown in a different location as an stock. But as Mr. Govind says, if your organization has short-circuited the SAP procedures, in case of SPACs, user withdrawn material. Yeah, 1 minute. Mr. Vasudevan, you are not able to come out on the mic and speak, possible? Or you are in an office? Mr. Vasudevan? Because that will be easier for us. See, what is this question is, in case of SPAC, user withdrawn material from store. Sir, if the user has withdrawn the material and then put it definitely into operation at the same time, then there is no stock. But SAP has got this kind of a best practices as Mr. Govind is confirming. See, where is the issue? He withdraws the material and keeps it, and then let's say conveyor belts, he withdraws, and then he doesn't change the conveyor belt in the line. So he has to keep it somewhere, no? So if he has not kept in a substore concept, he has kept it somewhere in the line itself. So we'll have to change the location in SAP. Sir, as Mr. Govind says, many of the companies have not followed the SAP's best practice. Then this problem comes. SAP does not allow us to make mistakes, but we are able to bypass all the security checks within SAP and then we are going ahead. So, Mr. Vasudeva Krishnan, in case you still have any doubt, I'll give this one, TCA at TCA-online.in is my email ID and my phone numbers all of you have because you must have got the invite from my phone number. So you should be able to get it. And still, if anybody needs my phone number, this is the phone number. This is the phone number which you can always be in touch with me. Sir, SAP has got the best system. If you are having SAP, then we are, as Mr. Govind confirmed, we are supposed to not to short circuit any system and then work on it. Okay, now Indent there is a internal control mechanism is available or not within the organization. Yeah. In such 1 minute, he is again sending a message. Hold on for a second. Let us read his message. In such scenario, what is your suggestion? That is what I am telling. We are supposed to tell them to reconfigure. They will not agree, but you are supposed to Acha, tell me one thing. When we go for an audit, we will. This can be found out. No, the material is available in the shop floor. It is not used. You find out on 31st March whether any material is being returned back, return stores, voucher. You just find out. Many companies must be doing. Throughout the year, they will be issuing materials to the, what do you call, to the line. And then suddenly they find out that profit is coming down, mainly because their issues have gone up. They try to find out whatever material is available in the stores. They try to return it to the main stores so that your consumption comes down, your cost comes down, then your profit goes up. So find out as an auditor on 31st March, how much of material is getting returned to the stores. And Mr. Vasudevan, can you please come on line? Is it possible? I am requesting you. Because every time we have to read your message now. 1 minute, let me, but it is difficult and further procurement also happen. That is what I said. You as an auditor, you go and find out on the last day how much of material is getting transferred back to the stores and ask them why it is happening. You ask them why it is happening. Because it is happening because they simply draw the material and then they don't use and then they buy material. So you go on, you give this report, find out the officer who is buying and then he should be punished. You give a report, he should be punished, go on record. Or tell them in a discussion with the management, you bring out these points and say, this is what is happening. It is because of your SAP configured wrongly by your people to short circuit. You'll have to do that. See, all these things, auditor alone may not be able to do. You'll have to find out what is the internal control system for indent scrutiny. So the moment you talk about indent scrutiny properly in any organization, all these things can be easily implementable. So your indent scrutiny should have a committee or should have a group of people who should do the indent scrutiny with whether the stock is available, what is the consumption pattern, whether any proper authentication is authorization of indent is available. And in an SAP parlance, if people who are working on any ERP, I am going to do a maintenance, let us say on July 15th, I was supposed to do a maintenance. So I planned that maintenance in the month of June 15. So I reserved some of the materials for that. Now July 15, I have not done the maintenance at all. And then I have not even released the reserved stock. So the reserved stock, somebody cannot withdraw. The moment I can't withdraw a reserved stock, then when I give an indent, I'm supposed to buy. And then I don't use the old one also. So we are supposed to find out why a reserved stock is not used. And then we'll have to find out why that planned maintenance or planned whatever overhauling has not taken place, why the stock is not, why the reservation is not removed. That is a question as an auditor we are supposed to ask the people. Mr. Govind, can you please add some points on this reserved stock business?
Sir, I think you have covered it well. Exactly, this is all the control, the tool, whether it's a SAP or ERP, whatever this thing, this is facilitate the tool to identify the problems. As you rightly said, since the rejection is more and they don't have the storage location, that itself is the first signal as an internal auditor we can identify. Boss, if it is nothing major, then there is one storage location to be always fine. But if it is always a rejection is there, still they are having one storage location, that itself is a fishy something over there. So that itself is one of our observation.
Yeah, look at the stock getting returned on the last day of the financial year or of the quarterly. Every time whenever the account is getting closed, please find out if the stock is getting returned, there is something very much wrong with the company.
Exactly.
And on any ERP, if any reserved stock is kept and if it is not used within that timeline, as an auditor, because if it is not used, it is available but cannot be used. So when new indent comes, we go on with procuring, then we end up with the non-moving stock slow moving stock, obsolete stock, all those things we move into. So at the intent stage itself, we are supposed to stop all these things, right? If this is any other point, we have anything? Anybody wants to say, add anything? Otherwise, what we will do, we will stop the recording on indent scrutiny at this point. Right? I have stopped the recording. I will stop sharing also.